What up, everybody? I'm back on the forums, and I ran into this hand. This hand's actually one of the more popular ones, and I want to walk through a couple of decisions that Hero decides to make, and a couple of decisions that some of the coaches decided to respond to. And I think that I have a new, interesting way that I think we should go about this hand, and I think that you guys would enjoy it. So this post comes from EZ, and he has pocket eights. He opens EP and gets an array of callers, and the flop comes down 8, 9, 6 with two clubs. And now he's out of position against the field, and he has middle set on a very coordinated, very coordinated, very wet board where he expects to get a lot of action most of the time. So let's talk about the spot, and I want to talk more about the board texture and how we want to arrange our lines in accordance to this texture. So the main thing I want to talk about is what we want to do with our pocket tens, pocket jacks, and our overpair hands on this texture out of position against the field. I think the best play would be to check, and I think that most people would agree with that. I don't think betting pocket queens into four people on 8, 9, 6, two clubs is going to be profitable. You're either going to get raised or that you're going to get called, and it's going to be an array of cards going forward that are going to make your life a living hell. So I think the best play with pocket queens would be to check and to check call, right? What does that mean for our pocket eights range? I think that means that we should include the pocket eights on this board as a check raise. And what that does is that it's going to protect ourselves from when we have pocket queens. It's going to protect ourselves from when we have pocket tens and we want to check call. If we just bet this hand, but then we decide to check pocket queens, I think that that leaves us very unbalanced. So what we want to do is increase our checking frequency on 8, 9, 6, two clubs. And then how we do that is by holding back our nut hands like 8, 8 and using them as check raises, and then holding back our queen hands and using them as check calls. And then our ace kings obviously are going to be check folds. So the main thing you want to take from this hand is that on board textures like this, our checking frequency is going to go up regardless, right? So what you want to do is, given that your checking frequency is going to go up regardless, you're going to want to hold back hands that are going to be able to protect each other. So queen is going to be protected by 8, 8 when we check, because we're going to check call queen, and then we're going to check raise 8, 8, and they're going to protect each other. So I think that's the best line in this specific hand. So I think that Hero decides to bet 8, 8, and I think that's a mistake. I think it's a pretty big mistake. And then it goes call. The 4 of clubs comes on the turn, and now the discussion on the forum is whether we want to bet or check on the 4 of clubs. But I think the whole thing is that we missed the big point, and it's that we should have never gotten to the 4 of clubs like this. We should have just check raised the flop and then take it from there. If it checks through on the flop, it's a pretty easy bet on the turn. So worrying about whether it checks through or not on the flop is kind of irrelevant. We should just take the best line in accordance to how we want to construct our ranges. All right, so I hope you guys got something out of it. If you have any questions, obviously keep adding onto this thread, and I'll be very attentive to what you guys have to say. So with that said, peace.